right, welcome to this year's informational meeting. I will try and be clear and concise, hopefully as always. This year there aren't too many changes, so if you are familiar with format. All right, so like always, it is open to 9th through 12th graders, so if there are any middle school parents here, I'm sorry, this is the wrong venue. It is open to all skill levels. Even if you have never skied before, you were perfectly fine to join. Lessons are available. It's a good opportunity for the price to actually learn to ski. We will take 5 official trips to 7 Springs. And this year, oops, dying. There are, as in previous years, 2 membership levels. There's a full membership level, which we will talk about later, and a transportation membership, which again, those will all be discussed. As always, the buses will depart by 3 p.m. and we typically get back here somewhere between 11:45 and midnight on Friday evenings. The dates of the trip are on the board up here. I will also have those posted at Google Classroom. Yes, feel free to take your pictures. I'll get out of the way. I'll try not to photobomb. But as in the past, I will post all of these. They will be there, so if you want. The key date I want to bring your attention to is this one right here, the February 19th date. That is actually a Monday. That is President's Day. Like last year, due to the weather, we had to end up taking a day on President's Day to get our 5th trip in. I think those of us that went enjoyed skiing in the sunlight for once. In terms of a ski club, I cleared that with administration. So our 5th scheduled trip, that is actually a scheduled trip, that will be the Monday of President's Day. Students have no school, and that will meet up at the stadium. We'll meet there at around 11 a.m. Buses will depart somewhere between 11:30, 11:45, and then depending on the conditions, we'll be back, I would think, probably around 7:30 p.m. Okay? The makeup date is the 23rd of February. That's a Friday. That's that following Friday of that week. Fee structure is as follows. We are a club. You have to pay the activity fee. I have no control over that. If you play another sport, if you're in another club, you only have to pay that fee once per year, no matter how many different things you do. So if ski club is the second thing you do, you're done, you're covered, you don't have to pay it again. Full membership is $200. We've been able to maintain the price for the last couple years. That will include the transportation, your lift ticket, and that is for registration by December 1st. So we're having sort of an early bird this year because we have to book the trips. We have to prepay the buses. After the 1st, because we have to get our estimates for enrollment, it's $225 after December 1st. One of the things I want to make clear, it seems to be a point of confusion in years past. Those 4 trips that you pay for, we go on 5 with a full membership, which includes the lift ticket. You pay for 4. Those do not have to be consecutive trips. You can miss the first one, you can miss the third one, you can miss the last one. It doesn't matter. Any of the 4 are open to you. Everyone sort of think that, if I missed the first, it doesn't matter. You can pick your dates, right? Any 4. If you want to go on that 5th one, there's an additional fee for the 5th trip. I think this year, I think that's going to be like $25 if you just want to take that 5th trip, right? So, and that's just effectively, we'll just, at that point, we'll just cover your lift ticket. After the first trip, no refunds. Things are prepaid, buses roll out. We're basically rolling every 2 weeks if you look at the calendar. Those things have to be planned for ahead of time and prepaid, so that gets challenging to refund that. For the transportation membership, again, you got to pay the activity fee. You're in the club. What that is just what it says. It's just for transportation. Those are typically for season pass holders. So if you have a season pass, you don't need a lift ticket. We're not paying for anything else for you. Whoops, sorry, I went to the next one. That's what that is for, and that includes all 5 trips. So if you want to go to any of those 5, all of those 5, that price is included. And again, no refunds after the first trip for that. The optional expenses for the trip. We have, this year, the first year, Seven Springs is doing a ski and board rental, which is the exact same price. Used to be board rentals were more. Now they are entirely the same price, and that includes for skis, your poles, your boots, and your bindings. And for the boards, it'll be your boots and the board itself. I will say this while I'm thinking of it here. Seven Springs, if you need to rent from them, or if you plan on taking a lesson, they have a new waiver that has to be filled out by a parent, which is meant to streamline the process, because it used to be you had to go into the center, the rental center, fill out all these things at the kiosk, do that every time. That got to be a pain. They've streamlined the process, but you have to go on, a parent has to go on and fill out that waiver before they go on any of the trips. Now, that is only if you are renting or taking a lesson. If you have your own equipment, you're never going to take a lesson, just ignore that, all right? I put that in a link like in previous years. When you do your registration, you'll get an email from me, right? The link is in that email, all right? If you want to do a lesson, it's the same price for skiing or snowboarding. That's $21. Those usually start right around 5 p.m., which gives you plenty of time to get your equipment and get up there. Helmet rentals are $12. I want to say this. It's written there next to it. I'm going to emphasize this because I had a scenario for the first time ever last year with that. Use of a helmet while on a ski trip is mandatory. That is not an option. If I catch you without a helmet, you are done, right? That is it, right? That is non-negotiable. We're not arguing on that. We're not having other conversations about that. That's it, right? Because that is priority safety number one. Every year we deal with concussions. Every year there's some head trauma, right? If you're not wearing a helmet, I can't even imagine how that would be amplified, okay? If you want to go tubing this year, they're offering us a group rate for the 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock session. It is 2 hours. I need to know that ahead of time, right, for each trip. So again, like most years in the past, students will get a survey the week before the trip, see if they need any rentals, see if they want to do tubing or anything like that, right? They'll just go out through the Google Classroom, their Gmail accounts. They'll get informed about that. That's $30 per person. And then this year for apparel, the officers have chosen to order a quarter zip. It's a North Face, it's a fleece. There are sample sizes out there, so when you leave, if you want to try a size on, we got a size run in for men and women. If you want to try them for sizing, if you're interested, they're going to be $55. They are going to have, I believe it has North Face over here, and on this side we're going to have the PR, and then Ski and Board Club underneath it. The extended day trip this year will be to Holiday Valley in Ellicottville, New York. That is awaiting board approval. I would imagine it would probably go before the board this month, being that Dr. Pasquinelli just emailed me a question about it. So it is definitely at central admin already and on their plate. Just has to be approved because it's an out-of-state trip. We will leave here Saturday, February 10th. Bus will roll at 6:30. The bus does not wait. And I don't say that to be mean, but we are on a very specific time crunch with the driver. If we go over time, we have to incur a larger fee because they have to bring out a separate driver. There's federal limits on the number of hours a driver can drive, and we push the threshold going on our out-of-state trips. I think last year when we went to Snowshoe, we beat it by 20 minutes getting home. And they actually had to have another driver at the school waiting here to bring the bus back. And they didn't charge us for that, but if that delay typically happens, then we'd have to incur another fee. I don't know what the price of that yet is. Even if I did, I couldn't announce it. It's not official until board approves it. But they have approved it the last 2 years, so hopefully it'll be okay to go again, and that'll be Saturday the 10th. We'll ski up there till about 4 o'clock. Usually when we leave here at 6:30, we're up there by about 10 o'clock. People are skiing by 11. We'll ski till around 4, 4 to 5, roll out around 6. We'll stop and get something to eat in Erie on the way home. If you've been on ski trips with me, you know I love Cece's Pizza, right? So, yeah, buffets are good. So we'll stop on the way home, get something to eat, and then we're typically back by between 9 and 9:30. The behavior and expectation is, as it always has been, students on any club activity are bound by the school code of conduct. It's simple. If you're not going to do it in this building, don't do it on a trip. If they are there and there is an infraction that is illegal, Seven Springs has their own police force. You are bound by that. I can do nothing for you at that point. Right? So if you have an infraction that is legal, you're caught for that, what I can do is call your parents and tell them. That's the end of my involvement. I have no say over that. And I caution group members on that because I know quite a few people, friends, family members have places up there, right? Options are in front of you. You need to be smart. You need to be safe because that isn't a school issue. That becomes a local issue. And there's not much I can do. In fact, there's nothing I can do. You will follow the code of conduct. If there are any infractions, that gets turned over to the principals. Codes follows whatever trips you miss because of the punishment are trips you miss. There will be no refund for those. You have to, when you are skiing or boarding, be with a group. Now, I say this every year and again for new members, that doesn't mean you have to be side by side with someone. That's not what I'm talking about. That means you ride a lift up together. When you get to the bottom of the run, everybody waits to make sure everybody's down the mountain safely, right? Everybody checks in, has a group to check in with. Helmet, again, I'm going to iterate, second time it's on here, you have to wear a helmet at all times on the slopes, right? Come in for the lodge, get something to eat, I don't care, it's fine, take off your helmet. You're out on the snow, you're outside, helmet's on your head, and secure, not just on, secure. You have to be responsible with personal items, right? Seven Springs, I mean, I'd like to say it's, you know, it is a family resort, but things get stolen. You know, people exploit other people. So if you take your stuff up, you don't secure it in a locker, you don't keep it with friends in the lodge, secured at all times, leave it laying out, it will go wandering. And there's very little I can do. We can help you file out an incident report. In my 2 years of doing this, I've had zero success with recovering anything. In that, I'd be happy to do it for you. I understand, mom and dad, I get the call, you're upset. I get it, I do. Not much I can do about that. That's incumbent upon your child to be responsible for their items. There is always chaperones available in the main lodge. We have a table there, that little ski and board sign you saw, the little small one on the corner of the table when you came in. We keep on a table that is manned, or staffed, I should say, constantly while we are at the resort. Right? So if you need to check in, if you have a question, if you have an issue, dropped your pole, lost something, forgot your helmet, you know, something's happening, whatever's going on, need to contact, call us. I know we are in the digital age. I know everybody has a cell phone. I know everybody will call mom and dad immediately or text. If there's something happens and you feel you need to leave, you still need to check in with one of us. You can't just call mom and dad and say, oh, I need you to pick me up and not notify us, because then we're freaking out at the end of the night when we're trying to leave and we're missing people. So there are always a chaperone available there to check in. If you know someone that's hurt, check in. In terms of safety on the mountain, the ski patrol has my number. I get called constantly on the mountain. If you get hurt, all you need to do is tell them you're from Pine Richland. My phone will chirp. I wear my Apple Watch. I vibrate on the mountain, so I'm alerted the minute something happens. I will ski right down to you, or I will notify a chaperone, and one of the chaperones will be over to check in on you. All right? Again, that's why we ski in groups, because if you get down the mountain, one of your friends doesn't come down in, you need to check in with a ski patrol first, chaperone second. Equipment drop-off is the same as it has been the last 2 years. When you drop off in the morning, your equipment will be stored in the steam LGI. After 7:20, that room will be secured. You will not have access to it again until the end of school at 2:25. Drop-off will be in the rear of the building like it has in the past. I'm going to go over that in a little bit. It will start at 6:30 a.m. It will end promptly at 7:15. Right? I'm under the strict guidance. If you're 7:20, all the students here know you're late to the building, the doors are locked. Right? You've got to go see the attendance secretary and get one of those little yellow passes and walk up. Same thing goes for me, because we're one of the rear entrances. We have to have that secured, locked up at 7:15. So if you're rolling in, you're stuck in traffic, 7:15, we're gone, cones are up, you got to roll around, right? You can maybe bring your things to the office, What I would suggest, if that happens, if you get here late, bring your things to my room. I'm up in room 203. We'll make arrangements to store those, or I'll try and get those down for you at some point later in the day, okay? All traffic must enter from Warrendale Road from drop-offs, right? There's no entrance up by the middle school or coming down. You have to go through Warrendale Road. And I'm going to explain what I mean by no leapfrogging after drop-off. So if we look here, here's the aerial view of the high school, right? Can everybody see? Right? Here's Warrendale Road. Here's the main entrance of the high school right here by the stadium. Right? So when you come in, you'll enter down here through Warrendale Road. You'll make the very first right like you would for student drop-off, but instead of going for the left for the drop-off, you're going to follow all the way around the back of the building. Okay? If you are a parent after drop-off, what you're going to need to do is circle all the way around the building. So here, I'll try and highlight that for you. So if you're up here, you've just dropped off, you'll have to come all the way around the building and exit back out. Even if you come through, you're still not going to be able to exit up this way. You're always going to have to either enter or exit through Warrendale Road, because at that time they'll be preparing for middle school drop-off. We're not going to have any access up that way. So when you drive around the back, and I know this is daylight, but here's what it looks like from the back of the building. The issue we have had in the past is where those cones are. After people drop off, they want to immediately brake right and cut out the traffic to get out of here. I get it. You're taking time. You're dropping your kids off in the morning. You're in a hurry. Problem is, we have 16 and 17-year-old drivers pouring around in the back to try and get their spots in school in the morning. And that is not the safest thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen a near accident standing back there. So when I say leapfrogging, we're not going to cross those cones, right? So you'll pull in. This is what it'll look like. You'll be in the coming lane. We will, at this point of the day, by 6:30, have locked off the opposing traffic. So you'll go into the opposing traffic lane, right? You'll cross the speed bump. Here are the cones that I'm talking about. So when you pull up along here, regardless of where you stop in that line, once we unload, you have to wait to exit. You can't just pull out through those cones. You got to go all the way down to the end and exit. We're probably going to be able to run 6, 7 cars at a time, unload, hopefully cycle that through. Just be patient, wait your turn. The ROTC will be out there to direct us, okay? Once you're in that line, you'll pull forward. One of the ROTC, in this case, Andy Park, will be at the end of the line. Keep moving forward until they signal you to stop. It is imperative that you keep moving forward until either the car in front of you stops or someone signals you to stop, right? I'll send it to you, Andy. You can Instagram it later, right? Okay, right? I love the face. It's nice. Once you are parked there, they'll stop you. You'll unload. To your right, like to Andy's immediately left, traffic will be flowing. This is where all the students will be coming in to get their parking spots in the back. Or if it's after 7, they can't drive around the front, so they've got to go all the way around there to get to the stadium, right? After that happens, just be patient. We'll get you through as soon as we're unloaded. The officers will be there. Some of the ROTC will be help to unload, right? This is where your student will enter the building. So if you are dropping off equipment, you're not going to get back into your vehicle, right? You'll get out, you'll get your equipment, grab your book bag, whatever you need. You'll enter through the rear entrance of the STEAM LGI. You'll drop your stuff off, and then you will just be in the building, right? Once you're going in, you're not coming back out. If you have several things, that's why the officers, myself, are there to help you unload. We will grab your stuff. We'll take it in. Those of you who've been through it know it's a pretty smooth process, right? There is help if you need it. Please, I just need drivers to stay in their vehicle, right? So I'll pick on Aman here. So let's say Aman's driving this morning. He has his ski club stuff. He's the only one in the car. If he drives up and he has his stuff there, he is not to get out of his car. We will unload his car for him. We will take his stuff in so that when he's done, he can pull out, right? We need to keep the process moving. If the driver leaves the vehicle, has to go in, come back for whatever reason, then that holds up everything. The line builds. We just have to get people through. Because again, you have teenage drivers trying to get to school, and if you're like after 7 or close to 7:15 and you're doing this, they're stressing out because they need to park, get their stuff, and get in the building, right? Keep in mind, parents, we're dealing with teenage drivers. This is who we're looking out for. This is how we're trying to keep safe. So once you're through, right, everything's unloaded, What will happen is the ROTC officer will come over, they will stop the oncoming traffic, they'll stop the student flow, they'll usher you out, you'll move back over to the right-hand side, go around the building, exit back onto Warredale Road. Okay? Any questions about the drop-off process? It's my greatest point. I know I take 200 and some kids to Seven Springs. That is not my highest point of stress. This is my highest point of stress, believe it or not. This freaks me out every Friday morning because it's dark, it's cold, people are anxious, there's zero light, right? Student drivers, I'm nervous. Registration, as always, I just love it, will be online through Google Classroom. I want to say this, as a school club, one of the charters of this club is student responsibility. Right? Mom, Dad, if you're in the club before, you know I do my best to communicate to you, I answer questions. It is the students' responsibility, right? They are the point of contact. They should come to me with a question. They should be the go-between. We need to develop that. That's part of this, right? You're sending them to a mountain, right, to do downhill skiing or snowboarding, right? We need some responsibility. We need to foster that. So they will get the link through Classroom. Classroom is not something anyone outside the Pine Richland domain can access. So they have to access it through their PR Rams account. I do not suggest doing this on a phone. Right? You can try, and then I'll get the litany of like, oh, I tried to do it, it didn't work. Right? My guess is most of you have more than one email account. Right? You probably have a second Gmail account, and if you're trying to, your phone doesn't know which account you want. So if you're trying to log into your Rams account, but you have your other account set up on your phone, it won't let you in because I have it set off, so it can only be within the domain of Pine Richland. Right? So get on a computer, it's your best bet. If it tells you it won't let you in, it tells you to contact me, chances are you have another account open and you're logged in. I tried this tonight, I had my son try and do it. I was logged in on my personal Gmail, he tried to log in on his PR Rams account, it told him no. I had to go log out of my Gmail account, right? So he's on his PR Rams account, but that will come through them. They will have the registration form. By all means, fill it out with them, right? They're gonna ask you questions about insurance, like health insurance, contact information, right? I put in the student information on the first page. Second page will be parent guardian information. I have a primary and a secondary. Please feel free to put both on. Only the primary will get the initial emails. Okay? So I don't need to send out the same form multiple times. Students will get a copy of the form. Whoever the primary contact is listed will also get an email of the form. Once you get that form, there are directions on there. It will tell you to print and sign the attached waiver. Everything you put in, again, trying to streamline the process to like in years past, everything you entered will be pre-filled on the form for you. Right? I hate wasting time. We live in a digital age, right? So if you filled it once, it'll load all that for you, print it, check over it, sign it, date it, have your students sign and date it. Sign-ups will be the week immediately after Thanksgiving. So when we come back on Tuesday, that's why I love doing this now, we come back on Tuesday, sign-ups for Ski Club officially start. They will be the 4 days all next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, any lunch period. Typically yours, bring that form, bring a check, directions for the check are on there. I didn't put it on here, but I put it on the email. Yes, make sure your student's name, your child's name is printed on the check in the memo line, but if you have multiple students that are going, you do not need to write a separate check for each of your kids. Again, I hate wasting time. Right? You can put, if you have 2 students in the building, you can put a check for both of those. Excuse me. Just make sure you put both the student names in the memo line. Attached to the email you get to this will be the waiver form for Seven Springs. Okay? All right. As always, especially for parents, information and updates, I do my best to keep you informed. You can always email me, mperry@pinerichland.org. I keep everything updated on these sites. So we have an activity page. If you go to the high school activity page, under clubs, ski and board club is there. Click the link, right? That will have a link to our webpage. Any relevant information will get uploaded on that. That isn't directly in my control. I have to go through central admin to get changes. So I'm sort of at their mercy, but on there is always a link to the club webpage. So if you go to the club webpage, I will update that. I'm in control of that. You can also follow us on Twitter. PR, there's an underscore between ski and an underscore between board. I will post informations on there. That's getting a little bit arcane, I get it, but I don't know a good way to use Snapchat to send in information. And also on Remind app. So if you're unfamiliar with Remind app, it's kind of like signing up for like text coupons, right? You can sign up, that can be students, that can be parents, anyone can sign up for that. There are directions on Classroom. Ask your child to be like, hey, go in Classroom, pull up the directions for me, right? You'll text a number and a code, you'll be in, and then that way when I send out things, you'll get a little text on your phone, know exactly what that is, okay? And then Google Classroom, I will post everything on there. You can go back, there's a stream. I think most kids are familiar with it at this point, hopefully. I keep things on the stream, I keep it sorted, so you can go back and look up any relevant information, things like that. Okay? Your club officers this year for seniors, I've got 3 of the 4, right? There's your president, Mr. Zach Reagans. Right, your vice president, Mr. Stephen Clays. And then Keon Wu is your secretary. And then Brian's not here. I think he's early Thanksgiving. Underclassmen. You can be an underclassman class representative. In order to be considered an officer senior year, you have to serve as a class representative at least 1 year prior to your senior year. All of these gentlemen did last year, right? So that's why they were eligible to be officers this year. Those sign-ups will be determined. You can volunteer for that after registrations are complete. So effectively after December 1st, I'll put out a survey, a form on Google Classroom for interest. On December 5th, Tuesday, 2 weeks, Seven Springs will be offering their No Snow program. If you are new to the club, you need to be there, right? If you can't be there, let me know. I need to know ahead of time, unless there's some emergency day of. We can talk about making arrangements, but it's a must. They go over, especially if you've never tried the sport before, they go over how to dress appropriately, layering, things like that, right? If you've been skiing since you could walk, this is going to be boring for you. I wouldn't waste your time, right? They talk about park safety. If you want to go try the terrain parks, basic rules and etiquette on the mountain. That presentation, I have 6:30 to 7:30, typically lasts less than an hour. I am in desperate need of chaperones, right? Here's the plea, right? I'm not going to lay any guilt on, but we need volunteers. It is especially this year, estimating the size, we are close to needing a 6th bus. And that sounds like, oh, okay, we'll just order another bus. It's just money. It's not, right? There are minimum numbers of chaperones I have to have on bus the district requires. I can only beg and borrow people I know so much. So if you are already a registered independent volunteer, please help us out. Come for a ride on a Friday night. You have a good time, right? I don't ask too much of you. Who do I know here? Pete's here. Where's Pete? Pete, right? Good time. Pete's one of my chaperones. It's a blast, right? We have a good, I don't ask too much of you, do you? Nope, real easy night. If you're not a volunteer, I need you to become a volunteer because I'm telling you we're going to need chaperones. And I don't want to have to say, oh, well, we're going to go down the list and you know what, freshmen aren't going this week because I don't have enough people for a bus. Right? That canceling a trip or canceling a portion of a trip or telling people they can't go this trip because I can't get chaperones, right? You're all at the meeting. If I don't get volunteers, if I don't get chaperones, that's where we're at. I can't take those trips not staffed with chaperones. That has to be a thing, especially in an activity like this. Here are the things you need. You need clearances. They have to be within the last year. There's 3 of them. I think the total price for that's around $60 or $70. You need a TB test within the last 3 months, right? I don't know how to argue that one. I guess that's just a health thing, right? I've worked here 20 years. I've had 1 TB test, so who knows? Anyway, that has to be within 3 months of submitting your clearance, and those have to be board approved. So what I mean by that is you cannot turn your clearances on a Monday and expect to go that Friday, right? There is typically, close to a month turnaround, Right? Now, if I beg, I might be able to get you rushed in because there's usually 2 board meetings a month. I might be able to sneak you in, but those have to be submitted into me. I have to sign off on them, give them to the principal. They have to go to central admin, be approved by central admin. Then they have to go to a board meeting, be approved at a board meeting, right? And you have to come in and get a picture for your ID, and it is a process, right? That is not an option. Those are requirements from the district and the state. That's it. Any questions? All right. Good.
Yeah, do you have any relationships with local businesses or discounts with...
All right, so here's my last slide. The last 2 years, Peak has worked with us to help sponsor us, help to keep costs down. They're one of the reasons. Last year, the kids got a T-shirt. They helped out with that. Was able to keep costs. So Peak Ski, it's over on Route 8, right past the Turnpike. If you're going towards Hampton. They offer a package for rentals. It's actually a pretty good deal. Like if you go back to the slide and look, if you just did nothing but rented skis at Seven Springs for your 4 trip, it's going to be $96. You're going to have to go there every time. You're going to have to wait in line, get your equipment, stuff like that, right? For an extra $5, you can have your equipment, take it with you. It's there every time. You're ready to go as soon as you get there. They offer basically 15% off just about everything for us, and then if you want like ski boots or snowboarding boots, I think they give us 20% off. That's sort of their specialty. If you want to try and demo a set of skis for the season, I know they do demos, or if you want to rent a higher end package, they will absolutely rent higher end skis.